Well, you bring up something else in regard to talking and doing your reporting and interviewing people. If you're interviewing someone that maybe you don't have a similar position, or you're very much not in favor of the practices thing, and you have to maintain a certain neutral position in that regard, and that probably is a learned skill too.
It is, because there are certain, especially when you know it's going to be a hot button issue, whether it's politics or abortion, things like that, then there are people who are feeling so strongly on both sides, and they're just looking for you to just give a little bit to say, like, oh, she's Republican or she's Democrat. You can tell. So, and that's why a lot of times I tell people out in the field, if they ask what affiliation I am, I say, I don't tell, and then they say, they're like, oh, well, I'll be able to figure it out. And I said, hopefully not for my reporting.
You know, I know a lot of shockwaves went through the industry when you had a couple of horrific things happen to on-air reporters, men stalking them, crazy stuff that was going on. Did that stuff ever bother you? Because you do get out to meet a lot of people, You
do, and that's the other thing when we were talking about with the feedback you get from viewers. I mean, you certainly get some pretty unsavory emails sometimes, and that's part of it. And it is dangerous when people know where you work, so they know where they're going to be able to find you. And I thankfully have never had anything too bad, but I mean, there certainly have been situations where some of my coworkers have had people that have started to follow them, have shown up at their house, knocked on their door, which is so disturbing. And there was an anchor back in Detroit where and thankfully nothing bad happened, but he had a woman who for years thought that she was in a relationship with him. And one day she showed up at the studio with her bags all packed, and the receptionist was like, can I help you? And she said, oh, I'm moving in with Rich today, and was just there and ready to go. So you do have that. So you just, as a reporter, I mean, you have to be smart and just use a lot of common sense. I mean, frankly, I think if someone wants to find you, no matter what you do, they're going to be able to find you. So you just have to not take stupid chances. I mean, my door is always locked unless I'm walking through it, and that kind of thing. Just to be smart. And I do a lot of things like when I'm getting my oil changed or things like that where you have to fill out your address, and I give the address of the station. So just because you never know, because that was actually something that happened to a coworker, was at a store, and I won't say which one, but she filled out a form with her address, and the person that she gave it to was fine. One of her coworkers found it, and then this fellow started showing up at her house. So
unbelievable.
Right, so it's just that kind of thing that it's there are some unstable people out there.
Right. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it.
So,
that happens.
And again, there's so much put on your shoulders because you have to be careful what you're saying. We've had some celebrated instances where an ordinary personality would make a comment, one comment, and that one comment might change the course of their career,
Sure, so, and that's the difficulty with doing things that are live, because you may make an off-the-cuff comment and not really realize what you're saying, and it just takes one person to really take it the wrong way and blow it out of proportion, and that certainly happens. And there have been some good people who have made comments like that, and it really wasn't anything that they meant as offensive, but it just was taken that way, and so you really do have to be careful of what you're saying. And you also mentioned, just being careful out in public, and I certainly do believe that as a reporter, I'm a representative of this station. So when I'm out in public, I try my best not to do anything that would reflect badly.
One of the old almost like cartoons that you see is like the competition of reporters to get that story. You got to get that story.
Right.
I mean, does that stuff really happen? You trying to beat the competition to the scene or something like that?
Yeah, a little bit does happen. Being first on the scene, that is a big thing. We always try and do that, because a lot of times those are your best opportunities to create or to find the best video. So definitely getting on scene, and certainly when you have people around that you may be able to get interviews with, you're more likely to get interviews with people when you arrive quickly. So there's also, I think, around this community that we do work well together, because a lot of us know each other. We show up on the same scenes. We respect what the other person is going to do. So there are some of the people that just are a little more competitive and take it too far and are rude out there, and you just have to deal with that. But I think for the most part there is healthy respect, and there is competition, because you always want the best, but yeah, we find ways to work together.
Sometimes I hear, particularly on TV, you know, the national morning shows and stuff, and they'll say an exclusive, you know, and that means only that station
Right.
has gotten that interview. Okay, is that something they work towards? I mean, that's really important to have that exclusive.
It is, because you do want to show your viewers that you were working harder and taking those extra steps to get the information and the viewers and the interviews that the viewers want to see. So you do want to work on that, and you want to show, and that's one way, I think, to show your viewers that you are working harder for them. Same thing with being
Right.
first on the scene. It's your way of showing that we really want to bring you the best. And that's a way to do that.
Yeah, you know, Detroit's going through some really hard times lately, really hard times. And when you look at what's going on up there, I mean, what do you think, you know, especially if you were there down as a reporter, there's so many horrific stories. Now, there's probably some hope there too, though. So what are you focusing on, the hope or the, you know, let's keep telling the story.
Oh, definitely the hope.
Yeah.
I'm a natural optimistic, and because that's where I grew up, most of my family is still there. I really think that Detroit is going to come back.
Yes.
I mean, it's certainly very rough times. They had a whole lot with, I mean, being so focused on the automotive industry, and that with that just crashing. And because it's not just the automotive industry, it's all the businesses that are built around it, whether it be local restaurants that are around, so that kind of thing, that it just had a huge trickle-down effect. But I do think Detroit, we're survivors, and I think that absolutely it's going to come back, and because frankly people aren't satisfied with being down on their luck, and people from Detroit don't like having that reputation. So they are, and there is so much more, unfortunately. You know, and I even hate saying this as a member of the news, but a member of the media, they do focus a lot on the bad sometimes, and those are the stories that you hear.
Yeah.
But there is so much good that happens there, and there's, I mean, sure, there are neighborhoods in Detroit that I would not go to at night, definitely, but there is a whole lot of good there as well.
And you mentioned that sometimes reporters may be focused on that, but is it because viewers are sort of like wanting that, they just, you know, they have an appetite for it, or what's going on with
It
that?
is. It's such a struggle to balance that, because so many people say that all the news is negative, but there are researchers who do this, and those consultants that I told you about, that's what they get told over and over from the viewers. That's what they want. And so it's really difficult to balance that, because on one hand you want to give them what you want, but then you're hearing from this other group of people who say like enough with the negative. So it is tough to balance. Crime certainly is one of the easier things to cover, because there's always a crime scene, so you have video of that, and there's people to talk to. But doing things like investigations, where it takes longer and it takes more research and time and resources, so it's always trying to balance that out. But that is one of the things that I like about being on the morning show, is especially in the morning, people are all right with having a little more feature-y information. So I like that I do get the mix of that.
Well, you know, we've quickly run out of time. This has been a fascinating interview. I've learned a lot myself.
Well,
here,
thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed. So, you know, best of luck to you here at the station,
Thank
WHP TV, and this also airs, of course, on WHBG TV 20. So we hope that the community will really get to know you, Jaime Meyers, and watch you, and you know, keep encouraging you to do what you do. Again, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for watching this program. It's called Life Esteem, and we want to thank again WHP TV for bringing us, Channel 21 for producing the show and then bringing it to the community, and then WHBG picks it up and then allows it to air there as well. So whatever you do, you know, just keep supporting us, watching us, and support these wonderful reporters such as Jaime Meyers here at Channel 21. Hey, we'll see you next time here on Life Esteem. Have a great day.